Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and wondered why, no matter how carefully you eat, your mind doesn't feel as sharp as it used to? Why names slip away, thoughts feel slower, and mental clarity fades little by little, almost like grains of sand slipping through your fingers? It's a fear most people never say out loud. Yet, nearly everyone over 60 carries it quietly. And today, I need to tell you a truth that may surprise you. What you're experiencing is not just normal aging, and more importantly, it is not something you must accept simply because you've reached your 60s, 70s, or beyond. What you may be facing is something far more specific and far more dangerous. Silent brain inflammation driven by the wrong foods. Yes, even foods you've been told for years are healthy. As a doctor, this is what worries me most. Not what people eat occasionally, but what they eat every single day, believing they are protecting their brain while in reality they may be slowly damaging it. My name is Dr. Adriana, and for over 2 decades I have worked with older adults focused on preserving memory, mental clarity, and independence. Throughout my career, I've witnessed a harsh but undeniable pattern. The right foods can protect your brain for decades. The wrong ones, when consumed the wrong way after 60, can quietly accelerate cognitive decline and open the door to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And here is the paradox most people don't realize. There are 4 specific nuts and dried fruits that act like medicine for the brain. They protect neurons, reduce inflammation, and support memory at the deepest biological level. But there are also 4 very common nuts widely marketed as healthy, sitting in countless kitchens right now that can do the exact opposite. They raise blood sugar, inflame the nervous system, and strain an aging brain. In today's video, I will reveal all 8. 4 that can help protect your brain, and 4 you should seriously reconsider if you care about your memory. Everything I will share is based on clinical evidence and years of real-world experience with patients just like you. And I strongly encourage you to stay until the very end because the most dangerous nut of all is the one almost nobody suspects. I can almost guarantee it's already in your home. Before we continue, I want to ask you something simple. If this opening message made you stop and think, type the number 1 in the comments. If you disagree, type 0 and tell me why. Your feedback helps this community grow stronger together. Now let's begin with the first brain protective nut, one that many people underestimate, yet its power is extraordinary. The Brazil nut. A few years ago, a 65-year-old retired teacher walked into my office. His name was Antonio. He wasn't there because of pain or physical illness. He was terrified. He looked at me and said, "Doctor, I feel like I'm losing myself. I forget names, dates, simple things that once came naturally to me." He had tried everything, puzzles, memory games, expensive supplements, but nothing worked. The mental fog only grew thicker. After running comprehensive tests, one thing stood out clearly. His selenium levels were dangerously low. Selenium is a trace mineral few people talk about, yet it is absolutely critical for brain health. Instead of prescribing medication, I gave him one simple instruction: eat 1 Brazil nut per day. Nothing more, nothing less. 3 weeks later, Antonio returned. His face looked different, brighter, more alert. He told me the fog had lifted and his focus had returned. This is not coincidence. Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium on Earth. Just one nut can provide more than 100% of your daily requirement. And selenium from real food is absorbed far more efficiently than from synthetic supplements. Why does this matter after 60? Because selenium acts as a powerful internal shield. It protects neurons from oxidative damage, one of the root causes of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. It also supports the production of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. Without it, the brain becomes overloaded with toxic waste and cognitive decline accelerates. However, I must warn you, more is not better. Too much selenium can be harmful. That's why my recommendation is precise. 1 Brazil nut per day. Treat it like natural medicine, not a snack. And if a single nut can protect your brain at this level, imagine what happens when it's combined with the next brain guardian I'm about to reveal. One that looks remarkably like the organ it protects and one most people pass by without understanding its true value: the walnut. If you've ever held a walnut in your hand and really looked at it, you've probably noticed something fascinating. Its shape mirrors the human brain, two hemispheres deeply folded. This is not just poetic symbolism. Walnuts are loaded with plant-based omega-3s, polyphenols, and vitamin E, all of which are essential for maintaining strong neural connections as we age. After 60, communication between brain cells slows down. Reaction time drops. Word recall becomes frustrating. Walnuts help protect those neural pathways by reducing inflammation and oxidative stress inside the brain. Multiple studies have shown that people who regularly consume walnuts maintain better cognitive performance over time. My recommendation is simple: a small handful per day, about 7 or 8 halves, raw or lightly toasted, never sweetened, never heavily salted. Chew them slowly and mindfully. When you eat a walnut, you are not just eating food, you are investing in your future clarity. But our journey doesn't stop here. The next brain protective nut targets one of the most overlooked threats to memory after 60: unstable blood sugar. And that is exactly where we will continue in the next part. Now let's move forward because the next brain protective nut targets one of the most underestimated enemies of memory after 60: unstable blood sugar. Modern science has even given this problem a frightening nickname. Many researchers now refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes. Why? Because chronic spikes in blood glucose silently damage neurons long before memory loss becomes obvious. This is where the almond becomes a true ally. In my clinical practice, when an older patient complains of brain fog, confusion, or difficulty concentrating, one of the first things I check is blood sugar regulation. Even mild insulin resistance can slowly inflame the brain. Almonds are uniquely powerful here. They are rich in fiber, healthy fats, magnesium, and vitamin E, a combination that slows sugar absorption and stabilizes energy delivery to brain cells. When glucose rises too fast, it leaves inflammatory scars inside the brain. Almonds act like a natural braking system. They prevent those spikes, protect blood vessels that feed the brain, and support steady cognitive function throughout the day. They are also excellent for calming the nervous system. If you feel anxious, restless, or struggle with sleep, your brain may be quietly asking for magnesium. My recommendation is between 15 and 20 almonds per day, preferably raw or soaked overnight to make digestion easier. This small habit can significantly reduce the metabolic stress that accelerates cognitive aging, and now we arrive at the fourth and final brain protective nut, one that addresses a foundation of memory so essential that no supplement in the world can replace it: sleep. Without deep, restorative sleep, the brain cannot repair itself. It cannot clean itself, and it cannot preserve memory. This is where the pistachio plays a remarkable role. Let me tell you about Sophia, a 74-year-old patient who came to me exhausted and afraid. Months of poor sleep had left her mentally foggy and emotionally drained. She asked me in tears if this was the beginning of dementia. I explained that chronic sleep deprivation can mimic cognitive decline because the brain never enters its nightly repair phase. I suggested one small change: a handful of pistachios in the evening. 2 weeks later, Sophia called me with a steady, clear voice. She was sleeping again. Her clarity had returned. Pistachios are one of the few natural foods that contain melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. As we age, our natural melatonin production declines. Pistachios gently support that process, without the risks of sleeping pills. And here is what makes sleep so critical. During deep sleep, the brain activates its lymphatic cleaning system. This system removes toxic proteins, including beta amyloid, which is strongly linked to Alzheimer's disease. Without deep sleep, those proteins accumulate, silently damaging memory over time. My advice is simple: about 30 unsalted pistachios 1 hour before bed. Turn it into a ritual. You are not snacking, you are inviting your brain to heal itself overnight. Now that you understand the 4 nuts that protect the brain, we must talk about the 4 that may harm it. And this part is uncomfortable but necessary. Let's begin with the peanut. Despite its popularity, peanuts are not true nuts. They grow underground and are highly susceptible to mold contamination, including aflatoxins. These toxins are invisible, odorless, and extremely dangerous for the aging brain and liver. In older adults whose detox systems work more slowly, this exposure can significantly increase neurological stress. Peanuts are also extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation. In today's diet, most people already consume far too much omega-6. Adding peanuts daily is like pouring fuel onto the fire of brain inflammation. I have seen patients regain clarity simply by removing peanuts and peanut butter from their diet. Next is the cashew. Cashews are often perceived as healthy, but after 60 they can act more like refined carbohydrates. They are relatively high in carbs and low in protective fiber. This combination causes rapid blood sugar spikes followed by crashes that trigger confusion and fatigue. Over time, these glucose swings damage the delicate blood vessels that nourish the brain. Many patients are shocked when their mental clarity improves after removing daily cashew consumption. It's not coincidence, it's biology. Then comes the macadamia nut. Macadamias are not poison, but they are extremely high in fat and calories. In older adults with slower digestion, they can strain the digestive system, promote weight gain, and worsen inflammation. Excess body fat is one of the strongest accelerators of cognitive decline. Additionally, macadamia can aggravate gallbladder issues, which are far more common after 60 than most people realize. And finally, we must discuss the pine nut. Pine nuts can trigger a condition known as pine mouth syndrome, causing a persistent metallic taste that can last for weeks. In older adults, this leads to reduced appetite and dehydration, both of which dramatically increase the risk of weakness, confusion, and hospitalization. Nutrition begins with taste. When taste is disrupted, the entire system suffers. So remember this clearly: your brain does not need quantity, it needs precision. Brazil, nuts, walnuts, almonds, and pistachios are not snacks. They are tools. Peanuts, cashews, macadamia, and pine nuts are not evil. But after 60, they demand caution and restraint. Cognitive health is built decision by decision, bite by bite. You do not lose your memory overnight. You either protect it daily or you slowly surrender it. If this knowledge brought you clarity, please like this video and subscribe. More importantly, share it with someone you love. One small decision today could protect their memory, their independence, and their dignity tomorrow. This is Dr. Adriana, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue protecting the most valuable asset you have. Thank you for watching.